Here we go. Lightweight division, we have Michael Chandler taking on El Kukui. Tony Ferguson. Michael Chandler, the more recent entrant into the UFC, the 36-year-old, born in Missouri, resides in Tennessee, fighting out of Boca Raton, Florida. So he is America through and through, touching all the corners of the U.S. He is 1-3 in the UFC, though. He won his debut against Dan Hooker in a very impressive fashion, then lost a very close back-and-forth title fight against Charles do Bronx Oliveira, and then lost a barn burner against Justin Gaethje. So even in back-to-back losses, I don't think Michael Chandler's stock has been hurt that much. And then you have Tony Ferguson, who himself is somewhat of a legend himself, and especially in the lightweight division. He is 38 years old. He is from Oxnard, California, fighting out of Orange County. Things have not been going great for him as of late. He's dropped 3 in a row against Justin Gaethje, Oliveira, and Beneil Dariush. So all of his losses recently have come against the very best in the lightweight division. Mark, let me start with you here. Great fight. Very hotly anticipated fight between Chandler and Ferguson. What's your take? And ultimately give us your pick.
This fight. Chandler's a big favorite. He's minus 400. Tony is plus 300.
Wow.
It feels very strange to me that people are looking past Tony Ferguson. It really does. But at the same time, I'm kind of one of these people. Like, it kind of just feels like Tony's time has very suddenly passed. And, like, because it feels so sudden, there's a part of my brain that wants to tell me I'm nuts and that Tony Ferguson is going to win by butchering like he used to. But the way he has looked lately has been concerning. Like, it's been 3 fights in a row where he can't even get his game going. And he just looks old suddenly. He even visually looks old. I don't know if you guys have seen, like, the countdown or the embeddeds for this fight. Like, he looks old all of a sudden. I don't think this matchup is any easier than his last ones. You know, Michael Chandler is relentless. He's a dog. He can wrestle. He can scramble. He has big power. And most important of all that is he's so fast. And I think that speed is going to be a major problem for Tony. Like, Tony has looked slow in his last few fights against guys who are not close to as fast as Michael Chandler. So while I respect Tony so much, and I kind of can't believe we're here this quickly, as I said, and I'm so tempted to be like, oh, man, I got to bet on Tony at plus 300 odds. Like, what in the hell is Tony Ferguson plus 300? But I can't really find a reasoning for why he would beat Michael Chandler. It feels like it would have to be a finish if he did it. I guess maybe I could see Chandler winning the first 2 rounds and Tony rallying late in the third and maybe hurting Chandler, but you know, I think that's getting a little crazy. I think Chandler fights a lot more controlled in this fight. He said it a lot of times that he totally ignored the game plan against Gaethje, and he can't let himself do that again because it is about winning, and he kind of forgot it in that fight. I think everything favors Chandler. I think he knows he needs his win. I don't think he messes around. I will say Michael Chandler, UD.
Okay, Omar, give us your take and your pick.
I'd have to agree because Ferguson losing doesn't really concern me so because Ferguson lost to the top of the top, the cream of the crop, right? It's Gaethje, it's Oliveira, and Dariush is right there, man. Not many people at this point are touching Dariush right now, so I'm not concerned with who he lost to. I am massively concerned with how he lost.
Yep.
Justin Gaethje. If this wasn't a fight inside of a cage, Justin Gaethje would still be in prison for what he did to Tony Ferguson that night. That was like 8 ass beatings in one fight.
That was tough to watch.
It was very tough to watch. Broke his whole face. And that was probably the most damage that Tony Ferguson has ever had in his career. Probably the most damage he's had added up throughout his whole career in one fight. It was terrifying to watch him take all that damage. So that's number one. Charles Oliveira suns him from beginning to end with no debate. And then Dariush also suns him from beginning to end. So I don't have as much confidence in Tony Ferguson to get things done anymore. There is a sluggishness about him at this point where he used to have this explosiveness, his ability to, those Imanari rolls, you can see them coming from a mile away at this point. You know what I mean? The spinning back elbows don't have the same sort of surprise that I feel like they once used to. Michael Chandler is a goddamn specimen. That man has been an athlete and has kept his body in athletic shape since he was like 2. I mean, he talks about wrestling all the time, how this is basically how he's grown up. And we see a lot of fighters who like to jump in weight and I'm not fighting right now, so I'm going to balloon up to this. Michael Chandler doesn't play that shit. Michael Chandler might gain a little weight here and there or whatever, but we're not talking like he's not Patty Pimbletting his life, right? You're not going to see a 210-pound Michael Chandler after this fight is done. And so Michael Chandler physically is a real big problem for Tony because that athleticism is going to play a role in that fight. And Tony Ferguson is super liable to get his ass real hurt in this fight. So I hope we have a good referee for this fight. I hope we're not giving Tony Ferguson the benefit of the doubt because of how tough Tony Ferguson is. I think we saw from the Gaethje fight that fight could have been stopped a lot sooner than it was, and I don't think anybody would have been that upset about it. So hopefully we have some good refereeing going on in this fight. I do think Michael Chandler is going to beat the brakes off of Tony Ferguson. I am going to go with a KO by round 2.
Yeah, I've said it before on this show that the flip side of unorthodox is sloppy. And that's how Tony has looked in his past 3 fights. I mean, I do think that Justin Gaethje took something from Tony Ferguson.
Yes.
That he will not be getting back. And, he looked wild and kind of, messy against Beneil, against Charles, and he got kind of taken apart by those guys. Yeah, I would love to see Tony return to form. Tony Ferguson has never been a guy at lightweight to have devastating power. I would say at his peak, at his prime, he had good stinging power, but not like a guy like Michael Chandler, man. So I agree with you guys, and I think that Michael Chandler is going to go ding and ring his bell, man, and he's going to leap in there with one of those huge right straights, and I think it's going to be night-night for Tony Ferguson. If it's not an outright knockout, he's going to leap on him and swarm. Michael Chandler is great at swarming, and we're going to see him get him out of there. I'll say round 1. I think it's just going to happen real quick because Michael Chandler, he comes, he likes to start fast. I know he said that he's going to try to be a little more composed, but that's also not really Michael Chandler's style. Michael Chandler brings some heat. And I think towards the end of round 1, I think we're going to see him get him out of there. Are we unanimous again?
I think so.
Yeah, we're unanimous. Just quick to your point on Justin Gaethje, I also think that a lot of what Tony Ferguson was mental. I think in his own head for a long time, he 100% believed it was not possible for him to be beat. And then the way Justin drubbed him, I think, has affected him significantly and has affected the way he fought Oliveira and Dariush. He's even I saw that he is now training in the middle of the night because he said he realized that training in the day was letting people see what he does, and like he's just saying shit that's making you think this guy has been mentally broken a little bit. So I think that's a big part of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What were you going to say?
I was going to say that, well, just responding to that, just Ferguson's never been the quote unquote normal guy. I'm pretty sure we could have a 2-day video compilation of all the weird shit that man has said over the years. And he's got some sound bites, man. I'm an ankle pick you. You know what I mean? Now this whole thing with I want to join pro baseball. Dana White's a drug lord and doesn't want to let me like do anything and is stopping me from boxing and all this other stuff. So Tony Ferguson is always on some shit. No matter what day, what time of the year it is, he's always on something. So his mental game has always been a factor for me as far as that part is concerned. And I do think Justin took something away from him. It very well might be something physical. It very well might be something mental. But he just seems like he's not with the shits anymore. Like, he doesn't like playing this game anymore. He doesn't like, I don't even really know if he likes being in the UFC anymore, if he even really wants to fight anymore. I think Ferguson is in one of those positions where he may not have invested his money the right way, and so this is still something he needs to do. I do think Ferguson probably finds a lot more success outside of the UFC at this point. I'm down to be proven wrong, like I always say. This is one of those sports where when I get proven wrong, it's because something absolutely miraculous has happened. So if that does happen, I'm always down for it. But it just seems like Tony Ferguson is kind of is not the same and won't be able to provide the same type of fight like he once used to. So,
Okay.
yeah.